welcome back to Only One Stories. My name is Bonnie, and today I'm talking more about Sherri Papini. I think I'm so fascinated with this case because really, no matter how you spin it, the only motive that Sherri had to fake her kidnapping was to get attention. I honestly can't think of any other reason why she would have gone through such an elaborate hoax other than just to get the attention that she was craving. And so today we're going to be watching one of her interviews, the first interview that she gave only 4 days after she was released by her captors. And it really, looking back, knowing what we know now, it's fascinating. I'm not an expert in any way. I'm just a person who's interested in watching police interrogation videos. Thank you so much to Crime Circus. Drip Drop gave me permission personally to use this video, and so please go ahead and check out the original video on his channel. I will link it down below. So let's get into it. Okay, before we even watch her start talking, the whole look she's giving right now is so pathetic. First of all, we were told that she had her hair completely chopped off, and it made it seem like she was this grotesque, like what they did to her was so horrific looking. She just looks like she has a really bad haircut. Apparently she was known for her beautiful long blonde hair, and that was like her signature look or something, and they said they chopped it all off, and I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, but it's just an ugly haircut that she can't stop playing with. And also the bandage on her nose, which was self-inflicted, right? She did all this to herself. And her just hugging her knees and the wide-eyed, just trying so hard to have this like, poor me, oh, I'm just a victim. And it's really gross. So I'm gonna play this back at 1.25 playback speed because it's just so long.
For that first time to be able to say, you know what, I'm Sherri Papini, and this is what I want right now. Nobody's gonna tell me any different. Nothing's gonna happen to me. You can't do anything to me that I've already been through to make me do what you want. And if that was the point where you were at in my own head when you said that, I walked out of the room smiling. Because it was awesome to see somebody who hasn't been, you didn't let it eat you up. Everybody, you fought every day. In ways that we'll never know, ways that you'll probably never remember. But you did, because you were able, very first time I talked to you, nope, leave, you might as well not be here until I have a key. And you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're not my husband.
No, you
I know I'm not your husband.
Oh yeah, you
remember
walked
that
in the room and I saw your face and I was like, nope.
Yeah, you're not the man I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what that face looks like. And
yeah, but well, because I'd already kicked a bunch of people out before you even got there.
Absolutely.
I don't know who the guy was that was in there. I want to say he was one of the CHP. I kicked him out twice.
Was he the big older guy with the chains?
The
other floor?
Well, I don't trust technology, especially when it's not mine. I think we're good there, but I just want to run my audio for backup, so that way I don't screw something up. I'm just looking for a closer outlet.
Way over there.
There was a.
Do you have a little extension cord?
Yeah. That.
That's mine. No, extension cord is going to be on the total.
There was a blonde woman, a smaller blonde woman.
Yeah.
Was she CHP or was
No,
she?
she was yellow from the sheriff's office.
Okay, but there was, I don't know what he was. I want to say he was CHP because when what was the lady with the short black hair?
Yeah, she's the ID tech.
She was great.
Yeah.
And she seemed to be very protective. And because she was kind of talking to me a little bit and I was very angry and I was very frustrated because when they first pulled up, I asked them multiple times to cut off the zip tie because my hand was like turning
the zip
blue.
tie you put on your own hand?
And they wouldn't do it. And that was very frustrating to me that when I would cut it off. And I was telling her that. And I said, you know, they wouldn't let me talk to my husband. I want my husband. And they weren't even untying me. And he said, we did untie you. And I was like, get the fuck out.
There's no way that happened. And if it did,
yelled
she's
back
an
at me
idiot.
like we did. And I'm like, no, you didn't. And
How long did
yeah.
it take you to get there as opposed to everything?
Yeah, no. So I just was very angry, and that guy really didn't care for him much.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah.
Well, so let's.
Can I use the ladies' room?
Yes, absolutely. Allow me. Yep.
She'll probably bring it up, and I know you guys know the right questions to ask, but just because I've been here, there's a few things that I went through that already. I can explain what the markings mean.
Keith, can you say what today's date is for me? Just do it. What's today's
It's
date?
the 28th, right? November 28th?
So 4 days after she was returned. In time for turkey dinner. That's her husband, who has no idea what's going on. And I think these cops are
during
already
this,
onto
what
her,
we've
and
already
that's
talked
why
about,
they're sort of
this is going to bring up a lot
encouraging
of
her
the
to
old stuff.
spin the tail.
Things are, because regardless of how you feel right now, this is stressful. We're going to be talking about stuff. You're going to have to start talking about some stuff that you may have been keeping back on purpose, maybe, and you're going to have to go there. This is super stressful. I've been on the other side of it because I get in trouble. I'm not that type of guy. Push the element, and I'm in the sergeant's office going, very, even I do this for a living, it's still, to be on the other side of it, it's hard. I know it's stressful. We all know it's stressful. So it's going to trigger stress responses that you haven't learned to understand yet. So if it gets too much, you're in charge of this. I don't want anything that you're not willing to give me. I don't want to push you farther than you think you can go. We're here for you. I'm here for you. If this turns into something that we need to do once a week, we'll do this once a week.
I think they're trying to make her feel like she's,
get it done all at once. But I want you to know,
in a safe place where they all
control.
believe her, and so to encourage her to keep telling her story. But I really don't think they believe her
So
yet.
if we get to that point and it's too
Already
much,
at this point.
we just need to take a break. Help.
So I'm not going to do
Are
that.
you allowed? You can talk, right?
You can, but we don't want to interrupt
More
you.
for you. Because even on the first day I was asking you questions and I was like, oh, that's not important. Let's get to this other thing. And they're like, no, let's talk. And I was like, no, we need to know this.
When you were using the restroom, I had to admonish Keith, okay,
Chilling.
don't interrupt her. Okay.
It's so interrupting that breaks your thought process.
Yeah.
It's not the question.
All of this. Now this brings me to my original thing, which is, what is her motive here? She left her home, okay? She left her home to pretend to be kidnapped, right? And she was gone for about 3 weeks. For what? I can see maybe if it was to run away with some new lover or something, I don't know. And maybe be in some luxury, I don't know, right? Like maybe she just wanted to escape and get away for a bit. But she hid in this guy's house so that she wouldn't be seen by other people, which she failed at. But she hid there. She starved herself. She gave herself bruising. She literally got her nose broken. She got the brand on her shoulder. She did all of this, got an awful haircut, and then came back to her house. What was it all about? What was it for? The fact that she did all of the wounds that they're talking about here, and they're trying to say, we can photograph them all. She's so excited about it. I mean, anyways, let's continue.
Female crime scene tech, come over, take some more photographs of you to try to help you guys get some answers to some questions. So we're not gonna go there now.
Yeah.
But
It's for later.
once we get to that point today, we can. She's on standby at my office. She can be here.
It's not the same one.
No,
Okay.
it's one of our girls. It's not the yellow. She's a good lady. Afterwards, you're talking about Stephanie at Yola County.
Yeah.
She's a great lady. I'd love to have her work for me.
Yeah, I like
She's
her
awesome.
a lot. She was great.
But I have another lady.
I don't know what we were talking
The bigger lady with the short dark hair.
Short dark hair.
She was taking
Karen
all the pictures
Oshiyama.
and swabbies
I
and
never
stuff
saw
like that.
So anyways,
She was great.
before we leave today, we can approach that and have her come over here and privately take photographs and look at that stuff and get that stuff squared away. So hopefully we can get some better answers for you. Okay. So, you cool?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question.
Go ahead.
She wanted to see some photos. I mean, we took some on my phone, only because there's been a couple times where she'll remember something. Oh, I hit my head on part of a car, or I remember this. And I think if she did see these photos, so I was wondering if she would ever get a chance to see the good photos, not my little iPhone ones.
Did you bring? I just have pictures of the cars. I didn't go through this. I can have those brought over. I thought you had them. But yeah, that's why the laptop's here. So at whatever point, if you think at some point, if I saw the picture of this, it would probably help me remember. Then we'll post a picture. Okay. So I'm giving you a lot of latitude here. Okay. This isn't so. Rather than, I think we all have an understanding of the game rules and plan,
And it doesn't matter. I can stop you and ask questions anyway.
yeah, absolutely. So.
And at the end of this, you can ask whatever questions you want. We will do our best.
So we'll get started.
I think a lot of this, again, was just really,
12:21.
I still don't know you guys.
Okay.
But I have absolute faith in my husband, and I think taking him away would make things harder. So I feel like it will be easier with Keith
Absolutely.
here.
It's, if you want him
And
here,
it's-
he will be here.
And I'm feeling very
Plus, I think she wants to make sure that he hears all the horrible things that she went
Is there anything we
through.
can do to help you feel more comfortable with this?
Not. Yeah, I don't know if that was helpful.
I told Kyle why you had
Well, it is helpful because obviously
He
it seemed
knows-
like
he
you
knows
felt
why.
like you were concerned about Keith not being here or not.
Oh yeah, I can't be alone with
So-
people I don't know.
So
I
he's
know.
here.
Yeah,
He's here for the duration.
That's- that's
I'm cool with it.
We weren't even worried about it.
That wasn't even a topic or question that we've even brought up because from day one, I already told Kyle Keith's going to be there. That's a no-brainer already, and that's. I know Kyle's heart.
I know this banter is important,
No,
it builds
that's
rapport, but
one
it's really
conversation.
boring.
There's certain things that are very difficult to explain. There's certain things that for me it's a feeling, it's not facts.
Okay.
So if there's something that's not a fact, if there's something that I was feeling, because I don't speak Spanish, but there was a lot of body language and I can understand body language.
Okay.
So there's things for me that I feel.
Did she grow up in California? How does she not speak Spanish?
Back because they're not facts. Also, my skin is still very itchy everywhere, so I apologize. Everything is itchy all everywhere.
No problem.
Um,
Where would you like to start?
I have no idea.
So on November 2nd, 2016, what happened?
So let's start us off on the day.
From the beginning.
Yeah, start with there. See what happens.
Just watch how much she's enjoying telling this. She's in her element here. She's loving every second.
Let's talk about the Christmas present with Keith.
Okay.
I started wrapping a Christmas present for Keith, the little American flag pillow that Tyler and I had picked out the night before at Kohl's.
Kohl's is expensive.
And I couldn't find any tape. I had taped one side, ran out of tape, and then couldn't find any more tape anywhere else. Got very frustrated, left it on the ground and left it open because there was no more tape to complete the wrapping of it. Did my usual routine, fed the chickens, cleaned the house, cleaned everything, just the usual. Nothing, yeah. Text message my husband to come home for lunch, which, looking back, it's quite embarrassing. He's like, thanks for, that last text message. Honey, will you please come home to have sex with your wife for lunch? Yeah.
Pause for dramatic effect.
So you text him to come home for lunch, and we're cool. Okay, we know the connotation. Gotcha.
Oh, that morning was weird too. Tyler had woken up from a dream, and I don't know if either of your children have ever done this, but when your kids wake up and they're like shaky and it's the worst. It's the worst. Tyler had woken up very shaky and wanting Keith, and was very scared, but couldn't remember why he was scared. He was just scared and he wanted Keith, and that was kind of an odd way for him to wake up.
So you went to daycare that morning, right? You remember that? Yeah. Tell me about your drive to daycare.
It was not ordinary, just the
Normal
usual.
day?
Yep, absolutely, just the normal. Fed the kids breakfast. Dropped them off at Pandora's. Nothing unusual. It wasn't even a hard goodbye. Sometimes they're like, "No, don't leave me."
You left them there.
It wasn't even like a hard, difficult goodbye.
And then when you left daycare, tell me about what you did after daycare.
Drove back home.
Okay.
Did my usual. Put on my boot shoes. Went out to the chicken coop. Cleaned the coop. And then just started my usual cleaning of everything.
Okay.
Keith had been coming home for lunch pretty often, and had been doing like the at-home lunches, which has been nice. We've gotten our little alone mommy and daddy time.
Lunchtime.
Yeah, yeah. So it had been nice that he's been coming home pretty early and stuff like that.
Anything out of the ordinary on your way home? Anything out of the ordinary when you got home or out taking care of the chickens? Anything that caught your eye or hear anything out of the ordinary? Chickens, by the way. How many chickens do you have?
We used to have 10.
Okay. Sore subject?
We lost a couple.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, we used to have 10.
I have chickens, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, we used to have every type of chicken. I'm pretty sure it was the 2 Americanas that we lost, one of which was one of my favorite ones, Lady Hawk. And America. My favorite chicken is still there though, which is she's human size.
That's the silver lace? It was silver lace?
We have a black.
She loves to hear the sound of her own voice. Watch how animated and excited. There's no way that somebody who went through so much trauma that she supposedly did would talk like this. Just
Eat the chickens all the time. The kids are great with the chickens. And Tyler can actually do a checkup head to toe with chickens. And Violet would feed Mary Bell. And Mary Bell would kind of walk up to her because she wants you to pick her up like a baby and cuddle her. And Violet will be like, this giant chicken's chasing me. And then she'll run and Mary Bell won't chase her. She just wants to be with her. So then they're just like running around in circles and Violet's getting chased by a giant chicken. So it's adorable. But yes, no, the chickens we love our chickens. What kind of chickens do you have?
I have,
nothing out of the ordinary. Wrapped up present, got frustrated, changed into running clothes.
Okay.
I love so much that my husband knows my clothing so well that he knew what I was wearing.
and what were you wearing?
I was wearing that pink Nike hooded sweatshirt with the thumb holes that I hate, and the black tight, I don't want to say they're leggings because they're a little thicker than that, but black tight stripy, not really stripy, just kind of black and white speckled, we'll say.
Okay.
And my black and white checkered, are they Under Armour or Nike? I think they're Under Armour, right? Under Armour tennis shoes.
On the pink top, is it all pink or was gray?
No, there's pink on the up to the shoulders, and then it's gray here, and I'm pretty sure the hood is pink.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're pink, and it has those little annoying trendy thumb holes that I don't like.
I like
Tried
those.
it. I guess it's for snowboarding. So they keep your sweatshirt underneath your
Plus.
so you put those in. So it's for snowboarding, from what I understood, because I was getting mad at it.
Would
What?
you put it on a running jacket then?
Yeah. It looks cool.
I don't think it was cool. I think it was obnoxious, but yeah.
He's wearing gloves. Or running gloves, I'm assuming.
Definitely wasn't wearing any running gloves. And then did my usual, started my app. I've been training for a race. It's been, I got implants, and it's been a long time since I got to run because you have to heal from the implants. And
Of course she did.
so that would be Michael Bublé, Everything. Their wedding song.
She can give so much detail because this part is all true.
Stretched a little bit on the porch like I usually do. Started running. Saw the 2, maybe there was 3 guys cutting the tree at what's his name's house? The guy that did our Toby. Thank you. Toby's house. Was on the left side of the road. Then a car was coming over that hump right before Connie's, so I changed to the other side of the road. Waved to that person. Turned right onto so down Casa, turned right onto Sunrise.
You're doing good.
Did you see anybody outside when you were running?
Not after Connie's. I did see people outside when I was running, but not after Connie's.
Was there any other vehicles besides Connie's?
Or the one-
It wasn't Connie's. It was a neighbor driving down in front of Connie's.
Yep.
But I didn't know who that was. I hadn't recognized her before. It was a female. I didn't
Sounds like
recognize
a
her
female
before.
that was coming out to pick up her niece
Okay.
in that area. We spoke
I
to
think
her.
you said that. yeah.
And she was on her way out to, I think, pick up her niece, take her to the mall.
Well, everybody waves in our neighborhood too. When you go buy cars or anything, everybody kind of does the wave in our neighborhood. But I didn't see. I always look at Christina's parents' house, which is the one right when you get the paved area, because I grew up with Christina and her parents were there, and I lived literally around the corner from them my entire life. My childhood, I lived around the corner from them, and now my adult life, I live around the corner from them. So whenever I go there, I'm always looking at their house because I'm always waiting to wave to them or see them, or didn't see them. Didn't see anyone
Now
at
she
the
has to
Bourget's.
fabricate the next part.
Yeah, because we know a lot of people in the neighborhood, so, and I look for that because I like to wave to people.
You just say, "Oh, mom, you're home.
Yeah,
You get to see people."
She's stalling.
Yeah, didn't see anybody else. Did my absolutely usual. Got to the mailboxes, or just before the mailboxes started to slow down. I was just about to transition into walk, so it's run, walk, run, walk. Right when I got towards the mailboxes was right before it was going to say, now slow down. That's what the app does.
We've listened to the app. It's
Oh,
pretty
God.
powerful. Now walk.
Yeah.
Now slow
You're
down.
halfway through.
Right?
You're doing good.
Yeah. So it's a funny app.
Yeah.
So you get almost to the mailboxes and you think
Sorry, my
stop.
lips are like cracking, and
Do you need some water?
no, everything's like this.
So you're about
Painful right here. Sorry.
You're good.
About
You're about to the mailboxes,
to the mailboxes
and these are the mailboxes near.
at the end of the Sunrise Drive. My mailbox.
And if I forgot to tell you this one tidbit when we laid out the ground rules. Sometimes we're going to ask some dumb questions for clarification, like I just asked because I knew it was there, but for our case management, sometimes we have to ask clarifying questions. So if I ask a question or Kyle asks a question, you're like, "Are you really that dumb? You don't know it's that mailbox." Okay.
It's something you probably have a form that needs to be filled out or something?
No, it's because in court processes. So if you don't mind, I'll just digress for a minute, take a break.
No, that's okay.
You say you were running to your mailboxes or the mailboxes, and we move on through that. And 2 years down the road, he or I are in court, and somebody wants to ask us questions about the mailboxes. Well, how do you know it was her mailboxes? Did you ask her if it was the mailboxes? So that's the kind of crap we got to deal with sometimes.
Got it. Okay.
So that's why we ask some of those dumb questions, because we get, not so much on the prosecution side, but she knows what we're talking about, defense attorneys, to try to poke holes, to try to
Well, and Keith and I had
so
had
that's-
that. Yeah, Keith and I have had that conversation as well, because I told him one of things that I'm. Before all of this, I watched those shows. I watched those shows, and and I've read Elizabeth Smart's book. Like I don't know. I was the weird stay-at-home mom that watched the random. What are those shows called?
True crime story.
Yeah, but
Taken.
ID channel.
reality TV. I was like this stupid. I wasn't soap operas, but it was reality TV. Like I watched all that stuff, so I'm thinking about that now. Where I'm like, oh my God, someone is going to be on her side, defending her against all of this crap, and because I watched those shows, so I understand what you are saying.
That's where I'm coming from when we
Right.
ask. If we ask a question like, "Are you really that dense? You don't know which mailboxes I'm talking about." It's not because I'm dense. It's because I'm safeguarding us down the road, so we can
Right.
not have to deal with all that
I
shit.
understand.
Sorry for
And
cussing. It's just that's what it is.
I've been cussing more than you have lately. No,
So-
and that's another thing that I'm thinking of about, am I going to be able to do that without running out of my seat and choking someone?
Well, that's
I mean, it's just, and that's difficult too for me, because I told Keith, and that's another thing I'm scared about. I don't know you guys. I don't know if you're in my corner. I know my husband. I know my husband's in my corner, but,
Why, if she was a real kidnap victim, would she have to question whether or not the police were really on her side? I mean, in reality, she should be worried about that. Anyways, continue.
there was a lot of other things, and I know that you guys know about everything.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing and
Well, and
yucky, and that's weird for me. That's weird for me. This is very weird for me,
yeah,
because
it's
I know that you know
Yeah, it's no big-
everything about everything, and that's
well, and I know Keith.
awkward.
We all know what we're
That's
talking
the best way to
And
say
those are
that.
some
That's
things we-
very awkward for me.
I get it. I understand that. Kyle understands that. I think we all understand that. But that's not a problem for us as far as having to deal with that. It's not. We're not looking bad at anybody. We're not casting judgment on anyone. It is what it is. Okay, stuff happens. The problem is that stuff is out there. We need to capture it. We need to clean it, and we need to be accountable to it as far as the information and move on from it. It is what it is. No one's perfect. No one does everything right. I mean, there's no problems as far as that stuff goes on that you've alluded to that we know about. Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about stuff. We'll talk about people we talk to. I got no problem with that. I'll tell you everything that I can. There's nothing, Kyle will tell you everything that he can, okay? It may hurt, okay? I mean,
Yes.
and I'm empathetic to that. I know Keith's empathetic to that. But the bottom line is how we move on from here, how things get rehabilitated, and how lives get put back together, and how we all get move on from this and become stronger. Okay, so all that stuff that you've alluded to, not a problem for me.
I wonder what
Not a problem
she's
for
alluding
Kyle.
to specifically. Probably the phone calls with other men.
Keith's right here with you. Okay, we're all good. Okay.
Is this mine?
This is
So when those topics and that stuff comes up between us here at the table, it is what it is. Okay, I don't want to use that. I don't want to use the word "I don't care" because that has such a negative connotation. But in reality, that stuff's when I say I don't care, or when Kyle says I don't care, it means it's all good. It is what it is. And we're not gonna. Well, what about this? And isn't that true? We're not gonna do that crap. That's not what we're here for. But it is part and parcel to this investigation.
And we found it. We investigated it. We ruled it out. So that's how these things go. Like when dotting the I's, crossing the T's, we went and found everything we can for several different reasons. Like how this investigation tore out.
She
There
still
was really
thinks that
three
they
things
have
going
no
on.
idea.
During this investigation, we didn't want to skip one thing. We didn't want to skip over one detail because that's when we make mistakes. That's when we miss it, and that's when we move so beyond it that we can't even come back to it.
Well, I mean, even to the point that what was it on Wednesday? Somebody went to jail because of this investigation. The guy up off of Copper Canyon. I walked an arrest warrant through on a registration person who was playing games with us, and we went and paid him a visit and searched through his nasty. I mean, all of us almost puked from the filth he was living in, and he went to jail. I mean, that's a registrant up off of Copper Canyon. I don't know if you're aware of that. We took that guy to jail. Did Kyle tell you about
my team.
it? Somebody told you about it? So we booted his door in.
We've got great friends.
We booted his door in and woke him up, and he's, I don't know if he's still sitting in jail because I haven't worried about it because obviously he's off my radar right now. But so what Kyle's saying, we've done a lot of work. So I don't care about that stuff and how on the outside people may say or whatever, but on the inside here, it is what it is, and we're on your side. Okay, we're here to defend. We're here to look for people that have earned the right.
And I don't care about, the whole what people say about.
It's easy to say that.
It's
I don't
easy to
care. I
say.
care about here.
Well,
I care
Clearly
about-
you don't.
I imagine that those conversations have happened in the last couple of days, or
Yes.
at least been touched a little bit.
Yes.
And they're gonna, and hopefully they got brought up when I told Keith from your get-go. Don't look into this anymore. It's very little to nothing. It's minute enough. We have to chase it. And that's what I told him. We have to look into it. We had to see it. And what we investigated, we found out that it was minuscule, if anything, if you want to call it that. And that's what I told him specifically.
What are they talking about?
But Keith, he didn't have anything else busy. Anything else to do that night. So it wasn't. So that was from the very get-go. Right after that went down, I told Keith that it was minuscule to nothing. But we have to look into it. We have to sort it out, figure it out. And that falls on those two lines that I told him. It was always, we were always going down two roads: the abduction because we had nothing, or you possibly had left because those were the only two options that we had. And the easiest one to look at is if you walked out or not. There's money. I can dive into you 6 ways from Sunday, and I can find some stuff. But on this rare abduction side, we're looking at chances. I'm looking at somebody driving by, noticing something minute, and now finding that person who saw that minute detail that I need, as opposed to there's paper on you, you're a normal, you pay your bills. Like I can find those people all the time. But now, and that's why that investigation was always going 2 ways. And Keith and I talked on Saturday about that. Like why? Because it's easier to build up evidence on things I can go see. So yes, this might have piled up, but it never went over because the abduction was so small. I couldn't find anything through all these things. That's why that was always alive. I mean, it would never have gone away until I talked to you. And that's why there's
I feel like it's just a shame.
Absolutely.
It's things that I thought about when I was there.
Gotcha.
It's the shame.
Yeah, and that's normal. So I mean, it's.
You should feel shame.
I mean, it's
Another thing I'm doing. That's all.
absolutely, but all of us are adults, and all of us have had lives.
I'm before the mailboxes. I start to slow down. I see a vehicle go past Sunrise Drive to maybe like the front 2 tires are past the actual street sign and then it backs up. And I immediately have that feeling of, that was weird.
She's trying to act emotional, but really she's just trying to formulate her.
The window goes down, but it was
She never cries.
a woman. And they back up.
Are you having a hard time recalling?
Yeah, she's having a hard
It's
time because it didn't
frustrating
happen.
because I know she was wearing a hat, but I can't see the color and I can't see her clothes.
She doesn't know because she doesn't know all these important details because
Rather than focus on the small details, let's talk about the big details.
I'll make a note. we
He
can come back
asked
to
for help. I want to say it's maybe like a hey or something to get my attention.
Is that the passenger or the
The
driver?
pass-
so cringy.
Is the car on Sunrise right now, or is it still on
No.
Old Oregon Trail?
It's on Old Oregon Trail.
How far away do you think you are when that happened?
And what are you asking?
When the car stops? Do
Um,
you know about how close were you?
Which time? It stopped twice. Once when it went past the street sign, once when it backed up. Which time were you asking?
Both.
She's rubbing her eyes to
The
get them all
first
red
time,
and watery.
again, it went
Doesn't
past Sunrise Drive sign, but not all the way. Backed up and stopped. I want to say there's a fire hydrant right there. Walked towards where the vehicle had backed up, but was still far enough away from it that, because I was still cautious, I had my phone in my right hand and my earbuds on, and I took out my left to hear her. And then she opened the door. And then I saw the small revolver. And I immediately ducked down. I crouched down, like in a ducking, crouching.
Like all the way on the ground? So like the fetal position while you like a catcher's
I mean, my
position?
knees weren't on the ground. It was almost,
Can you demonstrate?
yes. It was, okay, so across the road, phone's in my hand, earbud out, towards the vehicle. This, not all the way down, squatting, not
Okay.
crouching, squatting. Laid my phone down.
That makes no sense. Why would you put your phone down?
I can't remember if she said, we don't want to hurt you, we don't want to kill you. I can't remember exactly if it's we don't want to something, we don't want to something, we don't want to something. And then I put my phone down. And as soon as I set it down, I was so mad because I couldn't call my husband. And as soon as I set it down, and then I turned and I pulled my hair out because I ran away, and I didn't, and I should have, and I just.
You set your phone down and then you
That's
pulled your
all
hair
I-
out.
Do you want to come back up to the table?
And then I got up and went this direction. And I can't remember lifting my leg. I can't remember the back door open.
Let's see, are there any tears whatsoever?
Take a drink of water if you need to. I want to run something by you. See if
Nope,
this might
not a
help
one.
A little bit. Take a breath, do some more. You're good. You're recalling things from like your first person view, correct? And you're going through, you're seeing it through your own eyes. You understand what I mean by that? You're doing good. Okay. But as you're going through this, you're pulling your memory from the backside of your head and trying to remember everything. And sometimes
Jody
you go
Arias
back to
vibes.
your brain saying, I can't get there right now. It's kind of like a computer. You click on it, and the browser pops up and it says not responding. Right? We've all been there. Okay? So sometimes your brain says, we're not accessing that part right now because it's not time. We're not ready for it.
Running to the mailboxes, cutting diagonally. I didn't cut diagonally until the vehicle stopped, backed up, and then stopped again. And then I cut diagonally, but was at I stopped at the grassy area, squatted, pulled out my hair, had my hands up. That is it. And I don't even remember the back door opening.
Okay. And when you're talking about back door, you're talking about side door or hatch? Or do you know?
The passenger side of the vehicle, there was 2 doors.
Because she opened it herself.
I don't remember.
Does the Bluebird see which way the car goes? Or what's the car do next?
No. It wasn't what I saw, it was what I felt. I was very nauseous
Poor Keith writing down
and
notes.
cold.
What's the next thing you remember seeing or hearing?
Smelling laundry detergent on the pillowcase that was over my head. Pillowcase, hood, sheet,
Do you know when
something.
Do you know when that was put on your head?
No,
Do you remember where you were when you realized it was on your head?
the floor of
Floor.
the vehicle on my side.
Is the vehicle moving or stationary?
The vehicle is moving.
Were you asked to put it on or did somebody put it on you?
I woke up with it on.
You're doing fine. This is good right here. Okay. Do you remember, was there filtered light coming through the hood? Do you know what I mean by that?
Shadows from the road?
Okay.
Yes, it was light.
Do you have a sense of speed that you're traveling?
It was windy.
Okay.
Windy roads make me nauseous. Feeling very cold.
Were you clothed?
Yes. The only original item I had was my underpants.
Describe those, please.
White Hanes underpants.
What size?
Small. I think that's for that brand's a 5S.
Are they like bikini cut, standard cut?
Oh,
You know what I mean? Just what style are they?
white
cotton.
cotton,
White cotton.
white cotton Hanes 5. I think they want to say 5S. I'm pretty sure I'm wearing the same brand right now.
Well, maybe next time you take a break, why don't you double check, see what they are.
Yeah.
We'll hold off on that for now. Can I ask some follow-up questions? Can I maybe take a break from going forward?
Yes.
When you went for the run, how many times did you play through the wedding song?
It
When that
has
app,
instructions.
so when that,
Slow down and walk.
when that app says slow down, does it shut your music off?
Yes.
So then you
Well, I don't want to say it shuts it off. It muffles it. It talks over it.
okay, but it doesn't do a hard stop. It just will overplay on it, and then once he's done talking,
And it goes back to the music.
then it goes back to the
Yes,
music.
it doesn't pause it to talk. I think it just talks over it.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of some things about your phone when we found it. So
So would you
when I was looking up, I was looking at my own Bluebird.
Good.
Good call.
would you replay the Michael Bublé song for the majority of the run, or would you?
It was on repeat. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't download music to my phone. I didn't really because I listened to Pandora and Rhapsody.
Mhm.
But that's one that's actually on my phone. So I didn't have like a wide variety of music for it to go through. And besides, I like listening to that song because it keeps me at a good pace for jogging. Because usually when I listen to other, then I start running faster and then I wear myself out faster because I'm like, running to disco music, jogging faster.
Wrong side. That's the driver's side.
Okay, so there's a window. Here's the window, and then there's like a longer window.
Okay. Gotcha.
Behind this window.
So it's what we call a C window. So car crashes. Call it.
And so,
Okay.
for clarification, the vehicle was heading northbound on Old Oregon Trail when you first saw it?
Coming, okay, I'm sorry, I'm mad with direction too.
So
I'm so not helpful.
we're gonna be
Sorry.
here. So you're running down Sunrise towards Old Oregon Trail.
Correct.
Did the vehicle, so if you're facing, if you and I are looking out Sunrise to Old Oregon Trail, was the vehicle going this way?
Yep, and then backed up.
And then it backed up. So right now I'm pointing, that's northbound, and it backed up a little bit, then that's when you encountered it.
Northbound's the side that's closest to Sunrise Drive, correct?
Correct.
Yes, then that's it. That's the
We're
one.
going to Chevron.
Yeah, they were going to
So
Chevron.
they were heading towards Chevron.
Perfect, thank you.
I don't like you.
And Pete's like, was it a Ford? Was it? I'm like, I don't know brands.
We're going to Chevron. They had wheels on it, okay?
So I'll ask a couple questions and we can probably move on.
Okay, that's okay.
Do you recall if you went up towards Chevron, or did you notice if they turned around and went back the other way that they came?
I don't remember.
You think you're beyond
No,
that?
I was on like it was like the carpeted area. But I feel like it would have been where a seat should be. Like an area where a seat should be.
But not directly behind the driver and the passenger.
There was space in between. But okay. This is better. This is difficult to explain because, okay. So here's,
So people are drawn on one page. Hang on.
I'm wondering if it's like an elevated rear, if it's a 3-seat vehicle, has a little elevation for the rear seat
so here's
platform.
where the front seats are, okay? Front seats are here. I think there was a seat here. I can't be certain, but I think there was a seat here.
It's just driver.
Driver, yes. There's this, let's say that's the steering.
Okay.
There was like stuff, like bars, like not bars, metal pieces. Like there should be a seat here, I feel like. I was here. So there was space. And there's a hump here. This is that hump.
And what's
I can't
Sorry,
remember
parallel.
if there was a seat there or not. But like here, I could feel it on my skin. Like I could feel the pressure of there being like some kind of metal.
that's the old, like my grandparents had older big SUV. And those were all metal, like where it latches. So like my Jeep, all that ratchets down into a metal piece, like when it folds up and down. So maybe it's one of those. Which side is your head on of the vehicle, if you remember?
This side.
So as you were going, smiley face. Front face, smiley face.
Smile.
Smiley face.
It's frustrating for me to not have answers for you guys too. I'm trying.
How many times do you think you fell asleep? Like on that first?
How do you fall asleep when you're being kidnapped?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't even remember getting out of the vehicle. The next thing I remember is I was in a room.
It's pause there. You have stuff on
The last time that I remember waking up, it was still light. It was still bright. Like it didn't seem like it was dark. The last time I woke up in the car, it was bright. But, okay. I'm trying to think like were my muscles sore? Was my ear sore? Because when I lay on my ear for a long time, it hurts. And I could wake up and I can't remember any of that.
How long does it take for you to get achy hips when you lay on your side? Does that question make sense?
Yes. Yeah, so it's probably one TV show. So I'm gonna say like 40 minutes, a little less than an hour. Unless I'm on my bed and it's nice and fluffy and comfortable.
Right. Pillows between the knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember any music as you were driving around? in the car?
Yes, mariachi music.
Was there-
Was it a station or
Is that racist?
Pandora?
Like as in a radio station?
Yeah.
I want to say it was probably a radio station. I can't be sure, but did I hear any Pandora commercials? No.
Did you hear any normal commercials? So like if we're listening to a radio,
No, I didn't hear commercials. Like, I didn't really hear, and I don't think I ever heard a complete song from start to finish either. I listened for that a lot in the house too. Like, was this a radio? Was it Pandora or?
Why did you choose two Mexican women who listen to mariachi? Like
Since
what?
we touched it twice, you mentioned the house twice or location where you remember. Can we talk about that? Start with you. tell us.
What would you like? The description of the room? Would you like
Sure.
the sounds that I heard? Would you like what I think was there? What would
Yes.
you like?
What was the first thing you remember?
The first thing I remember was the zip ties on my hands. And then the clothing that was very big. It was baggy clothing. It was sweatpants and a sweatshirt. And I did not have socks, and I was very cold. And there was zip ties on my hands. And I didn't feel good. I couldn't stand up. I was very dizzy.
When you first had this in the sweatshirt stuff, is that the same stuff that you were found in the other day?
No,
How so?
because they would change me.
Okay.
Because there was a drawstring on the sweatpants. There was a drawstring on the sweatpants, and the other one didn't have a drawstring.
How many times do you think you were changed or had change of clothes? Obviously at least twice, so it's certainly.
Yeah, I think maybe one more time.
Did it seem like the clothes were new?
The
Or old?
wait a minute.
Okay.
The sweatshirt, the top was changed more because I was trying to manipulate her.
My skin was like on fire. It was really itchy everywhere, and I started this rash
Mm-hmm.
that's up in here. It was starting to like swell, starting to swell so bad that it was like putting pressure on my arm. So I was trying to manipulate them. I need some kind of medicine. Like, look at my skin. You need to wash me. You need to give me medicine. You need to get me something. And I was using that, and it was so itchy. So they would argue about washing my clothes, and I was able to take two showers. They weren't really, if you can call them a shower. It was get in, rinse water down your back, and get out. But she let me wash my underpants in the shower.
Were you able to see at that time, or were you still had back over?
No, I could see. And that was when I was trying, it was always look down. Don't look at us, look down. I was never allowed to look up. The first day with the zip ties, getting out of them, because they were behind my back. So I pulled them, I did one of these moves. And that's what this scar right there is from, is the very beginning when I got them off. And I bit them because I couldn't, because Keith and I have even tried this move before, the whole, like power through it and bust it. And I tried that and was unsuccessful. and it cut right here. And I was like, I remember doing this with Keith. How the F do I get these off? And I tried that several times, and I tried the power bust it down, and that's where it cut in right there.
Okay,
and then I was like, I can't bust through them. So then I just chewed it off, and I cut my lip right here.
Can you chew
busted
through?
And
Can
then
you
it was
chew
like I
through
tried the
zip
door. I could tell that the door had a deadbolt at the top, so I couldn't open the door. And then they came in, and that's all I remember from that experience. There was boards on the windows. And I yanked that fucker out of the wall super quick, and that's what got her in the room, was that noise. I was standing on the bed to get to the window. The yanking it out was what made the noise, not the zip ties, not anything. It was the yanking the board, the first board. There was 2 boards. It didn't go all the way across the window. It was window, board. I'm doing a terrible drawing. Board. There was no space in between, sorry. But window, board, bed, this one. Broke my nail, ripped it off. She came in, and then it was lights out.
What do you mean it was lights on?
I can't remember if I was hit with something, if I was stuck with something, and that's what I was asking too. If I was tased, wouldn't I remember? Or would there be a scar? Would there be a mark? Would there be a mark?
It just depends if the probes made skin contact, or if it was a handheld, there'd be.
But it wouldn't register you like cognitive
Here.
help.
It's skeletal muscles.
So it's only muscle, so it wouldn't be like you see on TV all the time where you get tased and they just lay on the ground.
Yeah.
But tasers only affect muscles. So have you ever touched a horse fence, the horse wire?
I don't think so.
Hot wire.
It's a unique experience.
Okay.
But you ever been shocked before, in general?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So like when the taser comes through, like if I get tasered here and here, it'll only affect my muscle. The electricity goes from this probe to this probe and attaches all the muscles because it's water.
Yeah,
So
so
the
you
muscle will tighten
remember,
up, and that's
yeah.
where that clack. So it's only that quad.
Okay.
If I put it from here to here, you'll do both quads and my abdomen as the electricity goes from this leg up and around to that
So
leg.
chances are it probably wouldn't have knocked me out.
No, not cognitively.
If
Right.
it was like a handheld, like a drive stun, it would shock you and make you like out. It wouldn't.
But my eyes would still be open. Yeah.
But your brain could also just say, I don't want to remember. You still have that element to it.
So, describe the flooring to me.
Carpet.
Color. Thickness.
Different than this carpet.
It wasn't like 1970s shag carpet, was it?
No, it was like a cheap. I don't want to. I don't know if it was like brown, maybe orange. Different. It was a different carpet in the closet also. The carpet in the closet texture was different than the outside room carpet. Like they replaced the carpet and then just didn't replace the closet carpet.
How about the bathroom? What's that look like?
I tried to hit her with something in the bathroom, and then the next time I went in the bathroom, everything was gone. The mirror was gone, the towel rack was gone, everything was gone.
But it just was a standard. Oh, there was a crack in the tile. It was a light colored tile that was speckled. There was a crack in the tile. It was always hands on the wall. It was a really high pressured shower with just your standard cheapy shower head. I was never allowed to touch the nozzle in the beginning, that very first shower that I had hurt really bad because the burn was fresh and the water was running over it and there was other open wounds and it just... Oh, and she doused me. I want to say it was like rubbing alcohol maybe because it was that smell and that burning. I don't think it was peroxide. I think it was rubbing alcohol. But it was like a doused.
Could you discern, or was it like a trailer bathroom, manufactured?
That's
You know what I
okay.
mean?
So that's where I feel like my parents have I think it's called a prefabricated house in Shingletown.
Okay.
And I feel like that's what it sounded like. And there was wood paneling. Like I could have busted right through the wood paneling. It was very thin and the walls were thin. If I hadn't have been on the cable and the chain, I could have just busted right through the wall. And you could hear, like if you put your head to the wall, because I did that often, you could hear very easily. And the insulation, it was freezing all the time. It was cold all the time. And there was a fireplace. I could smell the fireplace and I could hear that creaky, when you move the handle to open the fireplace, it was that creaky. It sounded exactly like the fireplace
It's
I
like a
had
wood
at
stove.
night.
Wood burner.
Yeah, it sounded literally exactly like the wood burning stove I had as a kid in our old Main Street house in Shasta Lake City. I could even smell when she put different kind of wood in the fireplace.
Any particular wood smells you recall?
I couldn't tell you the kind of wood. I could just
Notice
tell you
there's a
I
difference
could
in
notice
smell?
a difference. Yes, I could notice a difference.
What's the comment about when you were on the cable?
What do you mean?
A minute ago you said when I was on the cable. Were you tethered to a cable?
There was a chain around my waist.
Okay.
So the chain had.
Let's try.
Okay, sorry. The chain. So here's a
Let's draw the,
pretty.
can we
Here's
draw
a pretty stick figure.
let's draw the whole room. You want to do that?
Sure.
We'll lay out the whole room.
Okay. I'm trying to think where to start with the direction. So.
She's too chipper.
And here's the closet. The closet had two doors. Here's the hinge here. Here's the hinge here. They shut inward. Here's the doorknob here. There was like some kind of holders because they would lock it with some kind of thing to keep it shut. When they were maybe changing the bedding
I think she's describing
or changing
the real
more often
room
than not,
that she was held
or
in,
if
which is
they-
why she's able to give
if they
all
maybe
these
had to go
details.
outside to get something
and
I
draw
was in
it.
here. Because I could sometimes hear a door. They would put me in here. And then there was, I'm bad with dimensions. So let's just say, here's the closet and we're going up this direction. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Towards the ceiling. There was a shelf and, okay. So the shelf was maybe, I could touch it. I had this much leverage. So I could touch it. So it was probably, the shelf was maybe this tall. Because I could grab it, but I couldn't push it up. If I could push it up, if I was tall enough to push it up, I would have been able to get out. But I wasn't tall enough to push it all the way up. So the shelf, I could grab like the ledge. You know, if I was on my tiptoes, I could grip the ledge. And then there was this pole, stupid pole that was attached here, came down like all the way up. Fucking pole is the only reason why I was there. The cable was here, and it made a turn. I'm sorry for swinging. And then the cable I could reach all the way to the bed. Couldn't reach the door, couldn't reach the window, could reach the bed. There was at all times there was a bucket in the closet. That's what I used to go to the bathroom in.
Let's stress this real quick. Was the room rectangle or square-ish?
I want to say rectangle. Like the walls weren't, like some walls were smaller than others. I would say rectangle.
So where,
Door.
do you know if it
Closet.
swung, which did it swing towards the rest of the room or towards this other wall?
This direction.
Okay.
Windows.
Two or one?
You mean, was there more than just this one? This was the only window.
Was it big or small?
I don't know. I don't know what's big and what's small as in terms of windows. Sorry.
For the room, did it look like was it the whole length of the room?
Oh no.
So where's the window you tried to break out of? Okay. This is boarded.
Correct.
Um,
I was so close.
where's the bed in relation to the door? You want to draw? Which way does it go? Anything in this corner that you remember?
No.
So
Oh no. Sometimes the trash can was there every once in a while, but no. I was going to say the trash can was in that corner, but it was this corner, not that corner.
was that trash can for you, or what was the trash can for?
Yes, and at one point too, I was trying, because they were always mad about it, and I tried to say, if you line it with the bag and put kitty litter in it, it'll probably make your job a little. Because I tried everything with them. I tried any tactic that I could, and they did that. They
Wow.
put kitty litter in it afterwards. So
Was this trash can for you to go to the bathroom in?
yes.
Okay, so this wasn't like a normal trash can. This was like for your.
No, it was
So you could
small.
manipulate
It was like a small
even your
plastic,
imaginary
like it was just your ordinary small
kidnappers.
plastic waste basket. Like it was like a bathroom waste basket,
Okay.
and it was round. It wasn't square. It was round and it was small, and it was really hard to squat on because it wasn't very tall.
So when you're describing this, so this cable, was the cable affixed to the wall and like the cable was loose?
The cable was affixed to a pole that went up into the ceiling.
And that's
Bless you.
about middle of the
Dead center.
dead center. So we have this pole that was anchored to the roof somewhere.
Correct.
What was on the pole?
The shelves that I couldn't get out. They were like super bolted in. Like they'd added more stuff to it.
Okay.
To not get them, because the first day when I broke my fingernails, it was trying to get the screws, like trying to undo the screws,
And that was
There.
like on these sides?
and and trying to get to where the drywall was, because there was drywall, but I couldn't, and trying to move that pole, but I couldn't move the pole. The pole too, it wasn't just like a pole, it was like almost, it's not quite rebar. It was, okay, so think of if you had a screw that was big and long and you tried to grab it, it would like cut your.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Do you remember when were you first attached to when you first remember?
What do you mean? Like how many hours, days?
No,
That?
was that
What?
something immediately that occurred? Or
No, that didn't happen until I tried to get out.
Uh,
Like, I don't know, like, why, you think I'm just gonna sit there? I mean, that didn't make any sense to me. Like, all I had was zip ties, really? And you think I'm not gonna get out of a bolted door and a boarded window?
so the restraints progressed over time, correct?
Yes.
So the very first time you alluded to earlier, you didn't really say it. It looked like you had the zip ties were around both wrists.
Correct.
So one zip tie around both wrists, or was it
One,
okay? So one zip tie, that was your very first restraint.
correct.
Correct.
I hadn't had that chain was not on me yet.
Was that bar there?
Was the bar there?
Was this already in the room that you remember?
I don't know. I don't think the closet doors were even open. Did I open the closet doors? I don't remember seeing it. I mean, I'm sure it was there. It didn't seem like it was freshly put in. But the day that I tried to break out of the window, I mean, that wasn't something that I was really focused on, so I couldn't say. I don't know.
Did you give it? How much time do you think you gave it from the very first time you remember being in the room to your very first escape attempt?
I feel like I don't think they expected me to wake up so quickly. Because when I was breaking through the zip ties, when I first woke up, I could hear them like doing things. I could hear like movement. I couldn't hear talking, but I could hear like movement. I could hear things. I could hear, so I feel like, because it was very hard to stand up and it was very hard to move around, I felt like heavy almost. Like, I don't know how to describe that. Like, almost like it was hard to stand up. It's hard to describe that feeling.
So once you gained your strength, did you try your escape at that point, or did you?
What do you mean?
So you
When
said
I
you felt
when I
heavy.
had the zip ties on me?
Yeah, or were you? Did
I
you
never
feel that
I
yet?
never felt like I had strength. I was just trying to push through it. I was very fumbly, trying to get the window out. I was very fumbly, but
The audio continues, but the video doesn't work for the rest of the video. There's only a few minutes left, and she talks about how she is trying to escape by using a little screw and scratching through the drywall. And she goes on and on about this. Let me know your thoughts about the Sherri Papini interview that we just watched. Thanks again to Crime Circus for giving me permission to use his footage. It's such a fascinating thing to be able to look at her interview to see how easily she lies. She's clearly been doing this for a very long time, and she seems to really love to hear the sound of her own voice. I think that's partly why she did all this, because she wanted to be the center of attention. I think she probably went into this thinking she would have these bruises and some cuts and be all like skinny and whatever with her bad haircut, and everyone would automatically believe every word she said. I don't think she really ever thought she would be found out, especially in this interview. You can tell that she thinks they're eating up every word she's saying. And they do a good job. The police do a good job in this interview of making her feel like they are believing her. Although I really don't think they did. But yeah, that's one of those traits that narcissists seem to have. I'm not an expert, obviously, but that they just think that they're the smartest person in the room, and that their lies will always be believed. But my one question is, well, one of my questions is she never really kind of fleshed out the whole storyline of this fictitious kidnapping, because if you think about it, like, what was the purpose of these two Mexican women kidnapping her? She never made it make sense. So right from the beginning, that was like the red flag that was kind of going off for me, was why would two women kidnap somebody and then after 3 weeks just let them go again? She never kind of followed through with her story. She never made it make any sense. Like, was it for sex trafficking purposes? Were they planning on doing like a ransom thing? It just doesn't, like, why would somebody spend that much effort and risk just to let her go? after 3 weeks. Like, it never made any sense. Also, the other thing is she gave off serious Jodi Arias vibes. Casey Anthony, Jodi Arias, all of those lying, narcissistic women, they all have the same kind of vibe, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And thank you once again for supporting my little channel. If you have any suggestions on what other interrogation videos or other true crime stories that you would like me to talk about, please let me know. And I will see you guys next time.